A baby was born with prison as his only home. Daniel Philippe was born while his mother was serving a prison sentence. From the very beginning of his life, his environment was not a home with his family, but a correctional facility. This has a strong emotional impact, because a newborn has no control over the circumstances into which they are born. Example to understand it. Imagine a child opening their eyes for the first time and, instead of hearing the sounds of a home or meeting their entire family, growing up surrounded by bars, uniforms, and security checks. This helps explain why this story draws so much attention. A prison sentence does not remove a person's rights. Andrea was serving a sentence for homicide. However, in the interview, she states that she was also the victim of other incidents while in prison. The point raised by the case is that the person deprived of liberty still has fundamental rights. Example to understand it. If someone commits a crime and receives a sentence, the justice system has already determined their punishment. That does not mean other people are allowed to harm them or take away the rights that the law continues to protect. Everything began after she reported alleged misconduct. According to her account, the conflict began when she decided to distance herself from people who, according to her, were involved in illegal activities inside the prison. Example to understand it. Imagine an employee reporting misconduct at a company and then beginning to feel isolated or rejected by some coworkers. This example helps explain how making a report can create conflict, even though the situations are completely different. The physical assaults were the first warning. Andrea says she was physically assaulted by other inmates before the later events took place. Example to understand it. When someone begins experiencing repeated attacks, insults, or aggression, they often feel increasingly exposed to danger. This helps explain the fear someone may experience in that situation. Protection eventually became isolation. She explains that she was moved to a place where she remained almost completely alone for long periods. Example to understand it. Imagine being told that you will be protected. But to achieve that, you must remain completely alone for months without speaking to anyone. Even if the intention is protection, isolation can also have emotional consequences. Isolation made it difficult to ask for help. Andrea says that the place where she was held made it difficult for her to communicate with other people. Example to understand it. It is like someone needing help during an emergency but having no phone signal and no one able to hear their calls for help. That feeling of helplessness helps explain her account. Fear can cause someone to remain silent. After the events, Andrea explains that she was afraid to report what had happened immediately. Example to understand it. Many people who feel threatened try to protect their lives before speaking about what happened. Fear can cause someone to delay coming forward even when they need help. A second incident increased the emotional impact. According to the interview, a second incident occurred a few days later, making the situation even more difficult. Example to understand it. If someone is just beginning to recover from a very painful experience, and then something similar happens shortly afterward, the emotional impact is usually much greater. Unexpectedly discovering a pregnancy. Andrea explains that she learned the news after taking a pregnancy test inside the prison. Example to understand it. Imagine receiving life-changing news without expecting it, especially during a period of intense emotional stress. Anyone would need time to process something like that. The reaction of those present caught her attention. She remembers the reaction of a prison official when the test result came back positive. Example to understand it. Sometimes a facial expression or a brief comment can make someone believe that the people around them understand the seriousness of what is happening. The pregnancy became a new source of concern. Andrea says she experienced a medical emergency and feared for her baby's life. Example to understand it: when a pregnant woman experiences bleeding or severe pain, both she and the people around her usually become immediately concerned about the baby's health. According to her, speaking out increased the pressure. After making her account public, Andrea says she began receiving new threats. Example to understand it: many people feel afraid when they must testify in an important legal case because they worry they may face pressure for revealing what they know. The lawyer took on a role beyond the legal process. The lawyer explains that he also helped care for the baby. Example to understand it: it is similar to a teacher who, in addition to teaching, personally helps a student going through an extremely difficult situation. Their role becomes not only professional but also deeply human. The loss of her parents increased her sense of loneliness. Andrea says she lost both of her parents while serving her sentence. Example to understand it: losing a loved one is already an extremely painful experience. Going through that loss without being able to be with them or say goodbye can make the grieving process even more difficult. Her greatest concern became her son's future. At the end of the interview, Andrea says she wants to tell Daniel the whole truth when he is older. Example to understand it: many parents believe that, even if the truth is difficult, knowing the family story can help a child make better decisions in the future. That is the reflection with which her testimony concludes.